Namaste and welcome to Dragonfly Cookery and Knives. In this video, I'm very excited to introduce a project that I was working on in January, and I ran it past a guy who's now become a friend of mine, Victor Lin, who is one of the owners of Work Tough Gears. So this is going to be the first production knife that I worked in collaboration with another company in producing. Most of the knives, as you know, that I design get hand-built by the kami I work with, particularly, chiefly with Raju Borelli and Neem Tenji and Barun Borelli. So these are the three guys that I usually work with, and we do all of our production, or all the production of our blades are hand-built and handmade in the traditional manner as they are done in Nepal. And that's even for more modern style or more ethnic blades that might come from America or from other countries, like the Indonesian blade that I did of the Janep. Still was built in the traditional manner and built by these kamis. But this will be my first production blade. It will be done by a company that is new and coming out on the forefront of the cutlery industry, because they are a company that has 20 years of experience in knife manufacturing that they've put into play in their new company that is 2 years old. And so like myself, just starting out with my business, they're starting out with their business, so it's also another great way of promoting both of our businesses and getting a good quality high-end product out there. Now, in the last video that I did, I introduced this company to you of Work Tough Gears and gave you the background behind it and tried to give you a little foretaste of what happens with companies when they first start out. And I used Cold Steel as a good example because I've followed them from the very beginning all the way to the current day, and still buy their product and still collect their product and use their product. So I'm very familiar with it. Plus, I've met Lynn Thompson, and I've had a few conversations with him and got the idea of the man behind the designs and the company. So I kind of know a little bit more insight on that to be able to give a good evaluation of the product that they do. Now, I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about Lynn Thompson and Cold Steel, because along with some of their new knives, they were coming out with a new company. This was after Camellias Knives had gone bankrupt, and of course Lynn to have to look elsewhere to produce his knives, and he ended up in Seiki, Japan. Now, some of the blades that he was manufacturing were actually being made here in the United States, and this was one of his first early designs of a kukri. Now, he was a big fan of kukris and a big fan of martial arts and useful knives, and he likes a lot of what I call ethnic blades. They come from all over the world and are designed by all different cultures that use their knives, whether it be the Philippine bolo or, in this case, the Gurkha kukri. This one is the all-terrain chopper that he came out with. Like I said, he made this one in the United States, and he used his carbon 5 steel, which is a 1080 high carbon steel. Excellent knife, and as you can see, looks very similar to a kukri. Excuse me, I have to cough here. I have a very dry throat today, and I don't know why. So I may have to take a swig of water from time to time, so please bear with me and forgive me for having to do so. Now, this very good design is an excellent, outstanding chopper. When I first bought this and I used it out in the garden and stuff, I was amazed at how it just cleaved through things with no effort whatsoever. It is very weight forward, as a kukri should be. However, this one has a 5/16 of an inch stock, very thick, and it is a very heavy blade for the type of knife it is. That weight does work for it because it is very blade heavy here. However, it is not a true kukri in the sense that You have a very gentle slope here that is more reminiscent of a bolo with a recurve of a kukri. So it's kind of an amalgamation of bolo and kukri together. Now, he designed a handle that works out very, very well for it, in that it's very ergonomic and does follow the spirit or the essence of what a kukri handle will be, in that it has this flared pommel and it's flared towards the blade part to lock your hand in so it doesn't slide up. You have a good belly swell on it, which allows you to have a very comfortable grip. And with that Kraton handle that he used, it makes it nice and grippy. And like I mentioned in the other videos, is that if you put it in motor oil, you're still going to hold on to this handle. It's not going to fly out of your hand. Now, this very fine kukri type object was partnered with a scabbard here that is nylon. It's a very thick Kedora, I should say, not nylon, but Kedora scabbard, nice and thick. Has leather on the inside here with the double stitching to protect it so that the blade doesn't cut through. And it has a slit open top with a strap tension holder. Has a Velcro strap here, which allows for easy take on and off of your belt. So it's a well thought out scabbard, low end in cost in comparison to the blade. This overall production, this is the part where maybe there was some cost saving that went into thought behind this to keep it into a budget that people can afford to pay for. Now this particular knife easily sold in the $200 range, and this was back in the mid 1990s, or maybe even early 1990s, I'm sorry, probably earlier 1990s when it first came out. Now, he's discontinued this particular model and came out with where he's using that all-terrain chopper design and put it in his machete. And he makes a variety of different machetes, and this is the machete design that has the all-terrain chopper profile. Now this is an older one. This is actual one of the first of his machete line, and this one actually has the carbon 5 blade, and it's but thinner stock and has a nice convex edge on it. Now that the grind is much thinner, and it's made out of 1055 high carbon steel. But if it ain't broke, why fix it? He kept the handle the same with the great ergonomics in that Kraton handle. And in this particular version has the same quality scabbard that the bigger brother, or the more expensive one, has. It's exactly the same scabbard, and that's what he fitted with the machete back in the early 90s when they introduced this. Now it comes with a Kedora scabbard with a plastic tip on the end here, some rivets on the bottom, but is very loose and thin. It's not the stiff kind that they do, and again, that's to keep the cost down. And I think they sell for like 20 bucks, you know, so it's not super expensive. But now, to show the evolution of the design, they scrapped the all-terrain chopper for their large kukri type knife, and Lynn went back to the drawing board and drew up this design following more of the kukri shape. And now I go into greater detail about this in other videos, so I'll try not to labor too much on it, just to show that he actually went back to the drawing board and came up with a true kukri type knife. Now this particular one is called the Gurkha Kukri. They have the Gurkha Kukri Plus that has an extended hand guard in the steel that comes down, but otherwise the shape is exactly the same. And the Kraton handle is exactly the same as the all-terrain chopper. If it ain't broke, why fix it? It works really, really well. And now they kind of do a blend with the Kraton, so they call it a little bit different, and that's more proprietary for cold steel. This has a 5/16 of an inch thick spine at the grip here, but does distal taper towards the point. So all that weight isn't up here. The balance point is where it should be on a kukri, which is right there. So they nailed it and got it really good. Now, as the company evolved, of course, they came up with their trademarked and copyright or trademarked patented scabbard, which is a kind of a polyurethane plastic, hard plastic, riveted with MOLLE compatible, and has a great locking mechanism which gives great retention, and yet easy withdrawal and putting back, and it is very safe to use. It comes with a dangler, Cordura belt loop here that is a dangler, and it has the Velcro and the snap, which is really good. That's an excellent way of doing that. That way, if your Velcro gets compromised, that snap closure still keeps it nice and tight and fixed to your belt. And yet, when you want to get in your vehicle and drive off, you can remove it easily without having to take your belt off. It has a little retention strap up here as not to keep the kukri in, but to keep it from banging against your side when carrying it. So all in all, the Thought package is 100% A+. And this is, I would say, one of the best kukris out, production kukris out on the market today. They did such a fantastic job with that. But again, showing where a company might do really great on a product design, but then partner it with a scabbard that is substandard to the quality that they're selling. And that is what I feel about the B.K. Becker kukri that was originally designed by Hank Reinhardt and had been produced during the 90s and then disappeared for a while, and then Becker and Ka-Bar decided to bring it back, which I'm very glad they did, because it's an outstanding design and excellent kukri. And this is it. Now, I have one without the micarta handles. I was going to go out and get micarta handles, but I found this for sale at a very good price, and so I had to pick it up. And so now I have two of these, but one with the micarta handle. And this micarta handle is made by B.K. Becker Ka-Bar, and you can order it as an addition for an upgrade to put on your kukri. Otherwise, it comes with that polyurethane hard plastic handle, and which the micarta is much better. It gives a better grip and everything, and but you're going to pay extra for that. So the blade itself will probably put you out $130, and then with the depending upon where you purchase the micarta handles, will depend upon whether it'll be $30 to $40 extra. So after you put your money in, you're going to get something that's going to be closer to $200, and that's without upgrading your scabbard. The scabbard they provide is a Cordura with a plastic tip at the end here. Has a drainage hole on both sides. Does protect it from the blade piercing through the Cordura, and it's riveted on the side to help lock it in, as well as far as keeping the edge from cutting through the Cordura. However, it is Cordura. Now, you know, you take it in a wet environment or whatever, Cordura will dry much better than leather will, and it'll hold up pretty good. Has a fairly decent belt loop, but not very, I mean, that's as wide as it gets. Does not allow for any other optional carry other than that. And when it rides, it doesn't ride super high, but it is up there poking the side of it. Now, for a great package, for a great design, it deserves a better scabbard. That's my opinion. So these are the thoughts that I had in mind when I was thinking about doing this design. I wanted a kukri that, if I'm going to do a production kukri, I wanted something that's going to be very useful tool, something that somebody's going to carry with them and go places with them. Knowing Work Tough Gear puts out such a top-notch quality straight out the gate and keeps the price down, affordable, like for this one is $140, I wanted to come up with a cookery that would be in that price range, and hopefully we're going to be able to do that. We haven't nailed down a price yet, so I can't give a price quote on it. But this is the design that I came up with and presented to Victor Lind. He liked it, and we went forward with this design. So I'm going to step out of the camera right now. I'm going to put up my clipboard with my drawing on it and move behind the camera so I can zoom in a little bit while I talk to you guys. So bear with me on this. I'm it. I don't have a crew that helps me make my videos. It's just me. So I'm going to try to get this in line where you'll be able to see it. Now, when I drew this design, like I said, I wanted to make it a cookery. I wanted to make sure that it was going to be true to the design of what a cookery should be. And let me move out just a little bit. There we go. I think we got it where I can talk to you about it and point out some of these things. So I'm going to move towards the front again. So in this design, I wanted to bring in more of a modern style handle, which I would call a Western style handle. And with the handle design, I wanted to make sure that it was ergonomic and comfortable to the hand, wouldn't create hot spots, but yet be able to function very much in the similar style and tradition that a real cookery would do, in that it allows you not to move up onto the cutting edge and be able to lock in and hold it in your hand, even for extended back reach to get more leverage when chopping. Now, keeping the blade style, I wanted it to definitely be a cookery style, not a cookery type blade. So I patterned it very similar to the BSI style of cookery that is used and current in that the Gurkhas would use now. With about a 2-inch or 2.25-inch belly depth, I wanted an integrated finger choil so that you could move up closer to the balance point of the blade. Balance point should be roughly around this area of the blade. So when you're moving up, it shouldn't be. You should feel a little bit to the front, but not too much. You would have good balance and control. And as you see the top part here, the design is to have a little bit of a swell here at this point, a swell towards the back, and a palm swell. And that would allow your hand to be very comfortable when using it, not get too fatigued when striking and everything, and not create any hot spots or injury to you. So it's a very safe and comfortable handle. And knowing how Work Tough Gear works with their handles, they get that. They get the entire package, that not just the steel and the blade design, but the handle is equally important. Because if it doesn't feel good in your hand, you're not going to use it. And the whole idea behind any Work Tough Gear knife and any Dragonfly Cookery and Knives design knife is that you're going to use that knife. It's built to be used, not just looked at. So that is the design and the name of this. It took me a while to come up with a name for this. And seeing how Work Tough Gears usually names their blades, they come up with one name. Not like I was thinking of the Trailblazer Cookery or something like that, but that's a bit of a long name, and I have a tendency of coming up with long names. So I got to thinking and looking at the blade prototype that I received, and the name came to me, and that is one of the names that the goddess Kali is called, and that is Siddha, S-I-D-D-H-A, Siddha. And what that means in translation, and let me get my cheat sheet here so I can read it and not miss it. It's she who has attained perfection. And hopefully by the time we come to production with this, it will be perfected to where it will be really a user-friendly cookery that you would want to take in your gear for survival, for backpacking, for trail hiking, for hunting, wherever you want to go. That's the design intent behind it. So This was the drawing, the concept that we had. And now I'll move back towards the front of the camera and sit down and not torture you guys anymore with me moving around. And this prototype that I received just a few days ago has turned out to be really, really good, but not perfect yet. So this kukri hasn't earned her name yet, but she will by the time we are done. And here she is. This is, may I introduce to you this lady known as Siddha. This is the kukri that I designed and sent to Victor, and he produced this absolute beauty. It is exactly how I envisioned it and drew it. There is a few tweaks that we're going to do to make this even better, because right now where the balance point is right there at the finger choil, okay, and which is not a bad place for it to be, and it is there on all of their other knives that they do. They always balance it right there at the finger choil. However, for a kukri, the balance point actually needs to be right under their logo here, so about an inch and 3/4 forward, and right about there is where that balance point should be. If it's there, then this will be, the physics of this blade will work for you when you're chopping and clearing brush and going through. You're going to have, you're going to save on your calorie usage, because the physics and ergonomics of this blade facilitates chopping by being more blade heavy, more weight forward. And so this is the first kukri that Victor has ever done, so you know, I think he nailed it really good for being the first kukri that he's ever done. And the way that we're going to do that is, this is a full tang, and it is a solid tang, so we're going to try to skeletonize it a little bit, which will alleviate some of the handle heaviness of it and put that weight a little bit more where it needs to be in front of this finger choil. Now, the other thing that we're going to probably work on to fix a little bit is that this fits my hand perfectly along with that finger choil. That finger choil works great for me because I have small hands and rather small fingers, and so it fits me perfectly. I can get in there, I feel comfortable, I feel safe, I'm not going to move up on that cutting edge and hurt myself, so I'm okay with it. However, I have to think about you guys out there, that not everybody has my hand size, and so we're going to probably deepen that finger choil a little bit to where it'll lock in really well for you and keep you safe from coming up on that cutting edge. So that's really, really good. He did a great job with this handle, and this is the way that Victor works, is that, you know, he breaks it down, breaks down the design and breaks down the features of it to try to come up with what will work the best, be the best. So he looked at my handle design, and he went to the 3D printer and printed this out and sent it to me and said, how does this feel? Does this feel good? Is this what you're looking for? And when I got it in my hand, you know, I felt it, and I'm like, yep, this is it. This is what it should feel like, and which is really, really great. And I love 3D printers because it allows you to actually see what your finished product is going to look like and feel like. So very, very intelligent. He's using modern equipment to produce near perfection. And that handle was it. I let him know. I said, yep, that's it. That feels great. And so with that handle, we have it now on here. And it's made out of G10 with blue liners. And he asked me if I wanted liners and what color, and I asked if I could have it in blue, and he had blue available. So we will do it with the black handles and the blue. We'll probably even change up the colors on these. We might do the green like he does, maybe with red liners or orange liners, whatever he's able to do, and or maybe even no liners. But in this particular case, I really like the accent of the blue and black. It looks really great. Now, the thickness of the blade itself is under 1/4 of an inch, and it's for a very good reason, because we do not want this blade to be too heavy. And where, like I was showing you with Gurkha cookery, that one is a 5/16 of an inch thickness. I'm going to see what we have here. So let me clear it and see what we can do. This one comes out to 5.76 millimeters, and what that translates into in inches is going to be 7/32 thick. So it's under 1/4 inch thick, and does a distal taper right to the tip, which is really good, really nice. Even though this is a solid tang and it is a bit handle heavy, it still has a light, fast feel to it. It's a very, very very well balanced, has good dexterity, good feel to it in the hand. However, it is a bit handle heavy, and I'm going to bring in another cookery that is it has an outstanding designer behind it, and when he designed this, the only thing I had to say that was negative about it was the handle. And the reason is, and this is Joe Flowers' design of the, this one is the K-Tac cookery, which is the upgraded version of the heavy-duty cookery. And the one thing that really stood out to me is that it's very handle heavy, and that's not where it should be for a cookery. A cookery needs to have the balance point right about here. This puts balance point right in the center here, more or less. Right about there, which is okay, that's fine. It's good balance, but and especially when you get up close and you want to do your whittling, it doesn't flop around on you. It's right where it should be for doing your detail work. But for a cookery, it needs to have more weight on the blade and less weight in the handle, because you want the physics to work for you, not against you. But all in all, I mean, his package design was excellent. He has this nice hard plastic that has great retention, and also has this little leather strap over the back. Now, with our design, I requested that we could do it with a Kydex sheath, like what he does for his other knives, and so this is the Kydex sheath that he came up with. Now, when he sent this to me, it did have this type of clip on it. Now, these clips they're great. They're MOLLE compatible. In other words, you can put them on your gear, carry them in a variety of different ways. You can change them from right hand or left hand carry, or horizontal or vertical carry. They're very useful clips, and you can easily take them off of your belt without removing your belt. So if you're getting in your car and you don't want this knife poking you in the side, you can take it off. The problem is with this particular clip married to this scabbard is that it causes the scabbard and the cookery to ride very high on the belt, which puts the cookery's handle right there at rib cage level. And that's something that, as you're walking along, and it kind of bounces against, it could be annoying and irritating. It also makes it a higher carry and reach for withdrawal, where with a knife that's long, it's better if it's a dangle type of scabbard that puts it in a lower profile, easier for you to grab with both hands and take out. Meaning both hands is that you're going to hold the scabbard and remove the cookery from it. Now, his design that he did, again, this is the first cookery he's ever done, and to have an idea of what kind of scabbard, I showed him some ideas. We needed an open top, I felt, which would accommodate the pulling out and the putting back in of the blade. So he put a very long open top to this, and a very small closure here where the tip of the blade would be. This brings up a safety issue, and this is definitely something that we have to fix. We have to address that. is that when you're going to return this cookery in, you have to make sure that that point is all the way down before you lock it in. Now, as you can see, I'm trying to fit the handle in to lock in to a locking mechanism, and what happens is that the tip comes up. And if I push in and lock it, I may lock that tip right open. If my hand is down here, I'm now impaling my hand with this cookery. We don't want that. We're not going to make it that way. But that's one of the most serious issues that I really felt we needed to address in this design. So with that also, you have so much open space up here, it does hinder the retention of the cookery. If I hit a branch really hard, if I was running for some reason, had this on my side, hit a branch, it could pop right out and I could lose the cookery. So to help the retention, we need to bring this up a little bit, and that's what we're going to do. The other thing is, this was actually taken, this dangler was taken from another Work Tough gear knife, and I swapped it out with this one because this particular package that they do works perfect for this type of scabbard. You have a nice dangler, and it is right hand, left hand. You can change the orientation on it, so you could carry this right-handed or left-handed. And it has a snap and Velcro closure, so it can allow for you to take on and off your belt very easily. And because it's a snap and Velcro, if the Velcro gives out on you because of the climate you're in, whether it be sandy or very, very cold, you still have that snap that snaps in there and retains it and holds that holds it on your belt very well. So this is what you can expect. Of course, the Kydex is excellent, has the drainage hole at the bottom, very good, top-notch quality. So if you ever wonder what it's like when production companies are putting together a package to see if it works and whether it's good or not, this is how we do it. We get a prototype, and then with that prototype, we'll see what corrections and fine-tunes that we can do, so that by the end, when this comes out into production and ready for you to purchase, all the bugs are worked out. Here's one that I'm going to show that kind of gives you a better idea of what we have in mind with this top part up here. And that is that you have more rivets up here giving you more lashing points, but it also gives you added extra retention, and also allows for the split up here. When you go to remove the cookery, it allows you to remove it very easily and also return it very safely, because now you're returning the angle of the blade in with the scabbard. So it locks it in there and doesn't come up and stab you. And for those of us who use cookeries, we know that we always handle the back side of the scabbard, not the cutting edge. So if you have this on your belt and you're removing it, you're going to secure this so it doesn't move on you while you're withdrawing your blade. You're going to hold it by the back. When you return it, you're going to do the same. So that part becomes very safe and very important in a scabbard design, especially a modern scabbard design of Kydex for a cookery. Now, you could do it as a full enclosure like Cold Steel does, and that works great. Or you could do it like Kaladesh does theirs, or in the case of like Joe Flowers and Condor Tools and Knives, where they have the open up here and it's closed up here. This is a lot of thought went into this, and it is the perfect type of scabbard for a cookery. And so when we go to production, that's what you can expect to see, is that this will come up and you will have a dangler that will cause this to rise very well. With the leg straps here, you can tie it to your leg and you'll eliminate that slap that you would get. I hope you enjoyed this. Please look forward to our next version of this, which will be hopefully the final version. And I will keep you informed as to when we're ready to go to production. I know that that Victor's intent is to have this ready for our knife show that's coming up in Atlanta, Georgia, the Blade blade show, and hopefully you'll have that ready to go for you guys to see and purchase. It'll be available on my website at Dragonfly Cookery and Knives, along with it being available on Amazon and on Work Tough Gear's website. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that I whet your appetite. Please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Leave any comments or questions there. Or you can go to my Facebook page at Blue Dragonfly Trading Post and leave comments and questions there as well. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste. Please visit my website at Dragonfly Cookery and Knives, where you will find great handmade cookeries and knives, and in the future, our production, Work Tough Gear, the beautiful Seda. Thank you very much. God bless. Stay safe out there. Remember, wear your mask. Keep social distancing as we're opening up businesses and going back to work and going back to life as normal as it can be under these very tenuous conditions. A little footnote, the commies are starting to come back to work. I have a couple commies that now are started forging again, which is great news. So we're starting on the projects. Those of you who put orders in, thank you very much, and thank you especially for your patience, because it's been a long wait, but we are working on your cookeries, and you will have them in your hands as soon as possible. So keep the faith, keep us in your prayers and thoughts and meditations, and visit us at DragonflyCookeryandKnives.com. Thank you very much. Namaste. God bless.